As you know, I'm an adult, and with that label comes certain expectations. You should know how to cook. You should know how to do house chores. You should also know what you want to do with your own life, like within the next 5, 10, 15 years. In truth, I don't even know what I want to do tonight, which is why I decided to go with reviewing the HyperX Quadcast S USB microphone. Before you say I'm just randomly spending money, because I believe in one of my past videos I already said that I am trying to be a responsible adult, and most of the time I am, and this was actually a justified purchase because, as you can probably see in the frame, is that there is another microphone here. This is a Blue Yeti Nano, which for some surprising reason doesn't work. I've tried fixing it. I tried looking up on Reddit and, troubleshooting forums and stuff. So specifically when I try to use it with the headphone jack, it fails. So that's why I looked up on what I always wanted, and it turned out it was on sale. So the S variant, I believe, if I did my research correctly, is that it's just RGB. If I don't like it, I could just turn it off, right? So I decided to go for it because I always liked how this looked. So it has a shock absorber built in. It has a pop filter built in. I don't need this, and I don't need to worry about typing and moving the desk around. Also, it comes with USB-C. It's no longer a micro USB. I'm very much looking forward to unboxing this. So here we go. All right, let's open this. Yep, comes with a USB-C to USB-A cable. Not sure how long yet, we're gonna find out. Now let's have a look at this bad boy here. Like perfectly molded. Can I just crack it open? I swear I'm not as weak as I look. They've really nailed it shut. Hey, there we go. Wow, this thing is so much bigger than what I expected. Oh, wow. This thing is heavy. I think majority of the weight is on the stand itself. Aha, there's the mount for the attachment to the boom arm. Nice. I'm going to put this down here first, and what I'll try to do is connect this so you can see at least how it lights up and stuff. Already I'm giving like really good score for having a long USB cable. The cable is braided. I'd say this is about 3 meters. So let's connect this, and then hopefully we get to see a little bit of visual of what it looks like on the camera. Ta-da! Hey, not bad. Tap to mute. Not bad, not bad. I quite like it. So here's a shock mount. Yeah, it's pretty solid though. It's kind of binding the entire microphone. You won't be able to see it wobble, so you can totally rock it. All of them are like nicely and solidly connected. Nice. So one of the really good things about this microphone is that you can actually tune the gain down here. So if you're a little bit soft-spoken, you can just twist this knob all the way to the other side to increase the input. And on the back here, obviously you have your power, your USB. That's also where your headphone jack would be. And then on the back you have these little funny symbols. These are the polar modes that you can choose. The knob is pretty solid. There's no chance of accidentally like switching the mode there. But let's have a look at the stand a bit more. I know I'm going to attach it to the boom arm, but you might not. So the stand is fully it's not quite fully it's not quite fully rotatable, but there is a lock, so you can't really go further than this, which makes sense because if you go further than this it might tip over. But you can lock it just by twisting this, and then you can talk on this side if you want to, or if you want to point it towards an instrument, that could work as well. So the next thing to test right now is well, the audio quality, which is what you're here for. Now, for comparison, I have the current thing that I'm wearing, which is the lavalier microphone connected directly to the phone, the Yeti Nano, and also this, the HyperX Quadcast. I'll be saying the same thing, same sentence, 3 times, so hopefully it's a fair comparison. but the way I speak, the volume, also the arrangement of the room, how quiet it is, they kind of all affect the sound quality. So you kind of have to judge some of those elements by yourself. Your mileage may vary. So without further ado, let's go for it. She sells seashells by the seashore, but Peter's perfect pizza pleases picky people. She sells seashells by the seashore, but Peter's perfect pizza pleases picky people. She sells seashells by the seashore, but Peter's perfect pizza pleases picky people. A few moments later. So, the eagle-eye viewers out there will have noticed that I've changed clothes. Now, the reasoning behind this is because I wanted to spend a few days, at least, to use this microphone for real in my line of work, in day-to-day, just to give a more solid review of first impression, because I think that's more fair. So let's start with the good stuff. First of all, audio quality. Right now, I am using this microphone and, recording directly into the phone. So it is plugged into the phone via USB-C cable, and it is doing a really good job. I think the sound quality is really good, just out of the box. Like, I don't have to really do anything. I'm quite happy with it. Another big plus is the volume gain control right here, integrated with the hardware itself. I find that quite useful, even though I don't use it a lot. So another big plus here is that the filter is working very well as far as I can tell. All the plosives, they're not really, super obvious. Sure, all the sounds are still there, but they're very manageable. I can still tweak them when I'm editing the video itself. So I would say it's doing a fantastic job. I don't need to add an extra filter. It's doing great. So now to the not so good bits, and bear in mind none of these stuff are like deal breakers. I just find them to be slightly inconvenient. First thing is the light, and I don't know why I didn't do this, but I wish there was a dedicated button to turn off the light. So in order to control the light, you have to have the Ingenuity software installed, but I know this is a USB microphone, so chances of you buying this microphone not having a computer in the first place, pretty low, okay? I get that. So I'm plugged into the phone, and the phone obviously doesn't have the Ingenuity software, at least I don't know of. So I can't configure what the light is like, and I might not want the light to be on. So in this case, why don't you have a button that switches it off? Because some people might find that distracting. But for me, I wanted to be able to configure the light. I quite like the light in some situation. Like now, if I'm filming it, I want it to look pretty, so I don't mind having the light there. But when I'm like in a work meeting, for instance, if I'm using this microphone, kind of don't want to go unicorn on, on a really important meeting. You want to switch it off, right? So having like one extra button here somewhere, or maybe just to allow me to double tap on the mute button to switch off the LED light, or press and hold. Did any of that come through in the meeting, HyperX? No? Okay. So the feature that I think kind of saved this whole inconvenience is the fact that you can store settings into the microphone, so that when you plug it into like a different device, it will retain that setting. For less tech savvy people, I would say that is a bit of a minus. This leads me to the next thing, which is the mute button. Now, it's very fancy. I want to say something good about it first before I kind of bomb on it. The mute button has one job, which is doing fantastically, but there is only one thing it can do, which is mute. It's a big service here. You could do something else there. Just saying. I don't know what's underneath there. If it's just supporting tap, then maybe you can detect for a double tap. I think it would be great if the software allowed you to reassign what to do with that button, so it becomes a more universal thing that we get to choose what's gonna happen if we press on it. But right now, just doing one thing seems a waste of service, and also it's very sensitive. If I'm doing this right, and you can see it on screen, is that I can mute this without touching it. So on Reddit, there's already a few posts saying that, is it supposed to be this sensitive? Like, can I disable it? But all I'm thinking is, well, it could have done more. Also, it is a bit sensitive. So that, again, none of these are deal breakers. It's just mild inconveniences. Next thing, still focusing on the hardware, is that this particular attachment, which is kind of like a L bracket that allows you to move the microphone. So it's this part here. I think it's a little bit weak because I can move the microphone very easily right now. It's just that if I'm tightening this to the point where I feel, yeah, that should stay in place, then I expect it to stay in place. Maybe they designed it in such a way that you're supposed to, still have some sort of flexibility in moving, but I honestly don't think that's the case. I think it's just weak. Then we're coming on to the big issue, and this could be a deal breaker, not for me again, but it could be for you. The software is very lacking. I think there's a big opportunity missed there, because if you compare the Yeti Nano's software versus the HyperX Ingenuity software, one of them is specifically designed for a microphone, and the other is just designed to control lights. Almost. It has nothing inside Ingenuity that allows you to configure filters or profile or sound effects. There's none of those stuff. So right out of the gate, when you install software for Blue Yeti Nano, you have profile like, oh, this will make you sound warmer or colder or more like a 1970s radio station. It's just a really big value add when you're buying a microphone and you know that this is what you could do with it. Whereas you open Ingenuity, all there is configuring basic volume input and then lights. I don't really care about the lights that much. I mean, it looks nice, but having all the RGB in sync with the rest of my gear is not that important. I want my sound to come through the way I want. That should be the priority, not the lights. Sure, you can always manage the audio stuff using a different third-party software, or you can just edit the audio or set the EQ for it in a video editor. Great, that's okay, that's your choice. That's why I think it's not a deal breaker. But I just think for best value for the customer at this price range, I would expect maybe a little bit of configuration for you to play with. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Overall, this microphone is very, very good. Great sound quality, very easy to use, very universal. You can plug it in to pretty much anything, including a phone, which I'm recording with. This is a very good point. Even though there are certain bits that are kind of lacking, there are some questionable hardware design choices, but just to stress that those hardware design choices, none of them are critical. The biggest letdown is the software. You can't get away with it. If you're going to create a software that supposedly let you control your microphone, I think you should put some more sound related settings in it. I think overall a 7 out of 10, -1 for some of the hardware inconveniences, and -2 for the software, which is a really big shame because the microphone itself is solid. I can only hope that the software is going to improve over time. Who knows? Maybe it will. But for now, this wraps up my first impression of the HyperX Quadcast S microphone. Hope you found that useful. See you in the next one.